I'm Martin Herrera, born and raised in 5th Ward, Houston, Texas. A brother of 6 boys. My mom got up every day and tried to do what she could for 6 boys, and sometimes I look back at it and don't know how she did it. When you're raised up in that kind of neighborhood, you see the drug dealers with nice cars, money, and you just learn that, that's the thing to do, I fell into that crowd and started doing the wrong things, and at 17, I ended up in prison. During that 5 years, I actually lost my mother to cancer. The next year, I lost my father through a home invasion. A couple guys tied my brothers up and shot my dad on the way out. When I got out, I had a lot of anger, and I kind of fell back into the lifestyle of robbing, selling drugs. It came to a point like I was in either keep robbing people or try to get a job, and I took a job as actually a dishwasher. I just started accumulating money, and I hear my friends saying they're gonna open a business, and I was like, why don't I open a business, a t-shirt business? So I opened a t-shirt business, and I put a few sneakers in there and just kept going with it, a little at a time, and after a while, the sneaker store just was full after 3 years.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. They're like the hottest commodity on the urban market, and thieves are going after them big time. Just last year, we told you about a half-dozen burglaries targeting mom-and-pop sneaker resale stores in a short period of time. Tonight, we're adding another to that list. It's where the owners say he lost minimum $100,000 in product from his store on Quitman, just north of downtown Houston.
Actually, that morning, I woke up and got a call from my brother, and he said they broke in the store, and so I get to the store and everything's gone, like about 85%. I had that same feeling of when I lost my dad, when I lost my store. Like, I really couldn't believe it. I remember crying, and it really hurt. I remember having a choice, going back to the streets or following God. He said, follow me, And for the first time in my life, I made that decision to really follow him and not be halfway in and halfway out, I have a friend, Jessica. She actually invited me to meet Trey 9, and she knows I love the kids. And she was like, come mentor the kids at God's Point. Me knowing about fashion, me and Trey 9 have a talk about t-shirt printing, where I teach kids the graphic design, take that graphic design to the printer, print it out. After it's printed out, to dry it out, and after drying it out, press it on a t-shirt. It's just so amazing how everything came together, I lose my business, but I still get to do what a business does. Actually coming to God's Point, I met Sean Stroder and Jesse Walker. They walked with me through my whole growth in Eyes on Me. I couldn't be where I'm at without these men in my life,
I met Martin on the day that he got baptized. I watched him get baptized. I got to hang out with him and his brother, and just saw him go from a guy who is interested in Jesus to a guy who surrendered his life to Jesus to a guy who desires to see the 5th Ward and his hood be known for Jesus.
My first impression of Martin was he seemed to be resilient from some of the things that I learned that he kind of went through. He was really determined. When you gave him a task, he followed through, and he would even add additional things that he would be like, okay, let's do this. So he was very motivated.
So you go through DTS first, and then after you complete DTS, they just don't leave you right there. They offer Ambassadors Club, where they stick you with a goals coach. And I didn't really hit that leveling up till I hit President's Club.
The President's Club at Eyes on Me is really the culmination of more than a year of training for the guys. Eyes on Me really invest in these guys, and they help walk them up, mature them in their Christian faith, mature them in their walk, and then really mature them in the business sense as well. And that's kind of where I intersect. One of the things we do in the President's Club is that we get with the guys and we use a book, and the book's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
You know, they teach you how to execute them 7 habits. For instance, beginning with the end in mind, being proactive. And now I actually get to pass all the tools I learned in President's Club in prison to the men, you know. Through PEP, the Prison Entrepreneur Program, I'm actually teaching the guys what I've learned in President's Club.
One of the most impactful things about Martin is knowing what happened with his shoe store. To watch him give shoes to God's Point, to create a clock at God's Point, to even now with Prison Entrepreneurial Program where he works, he literally is handing shoes to people that finish that program. Or when he was struggling or didn't even have his business, whatever shoes he had, he would give to the homeless. He's always had a heart to give back since I've met him, a heart to help the homeless, those less fortunate. He would take food that was left over from events at his house and go down and feed the homeless that evening. I think that's just his heart, is to give back. As
a result of DTS and leveling up, I actually took that to 5th Ward and started my own house church there. And to this day, every Monday we gather. And actually the house I do Bible study at, it is the house my father died at, where the home invasion happened at, the house I sold drugs in. And it's actually what I call the lighthouse now. Anybody could come there and I'll give them the shirt off my back. I'll pray for them. I'll offer them to come to my Bible study and teach them everything I've learned. You know, I feel like that's my duty as someone that truly learned who God is, and if you see God, what he could do.
Martin's future is whatever he wants it to be. He's a guy who will take whatever's in front of him and attack it and grow and learn every day to take that next step forward. And you don't see on a daily basis those major steps, but as you look back, I think he's done things that have astounded me and astounded many others simply by saying yes to the next thing in front of him. And I think that's what it is to walk with Jesus. That's what discipleship is, and that's honestly what success is.